Merry Christmas. That's what I'm talking about.
You were getting really into that, yeah.
I was. New old-fashioned way. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's a proper Christmas tune.
Yeah. Who's that by then, Louis?
It sounds like it's Lulu. I'm sure it's not.
You're right. You're right, it's not.
It's before, yeah, okay.
Brenda Lee, her name was.
Never heard of
How
her.
old do you think she was when she recorded that?
25.
Younger.
Really?
Yeah.
20.
Younger.
18.
Younger.
What? Not even an adult?
Younger.
17?
Younger.
16, 15,
Younger.
14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 years old. No? Go on.
13 years old.
What? She's got the voice of her. That sounds like Lulu, you know, after she's in the period where she was like doing songs with Take That, you know, a bit past it.
No.
Bit husky, a few too many of the gin and tonic.
13.
What?
Yep.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Really?
And it didn't chart well until she became popular later on. Like I said, when it was first released in 1958, it wasn't a hit at all. In fact, it only really became a hit. The highest it's reached was number 2 in the Billboard 100 in 2019.
You're really enjoying. You've done your research for this podcast, and you're really enjoying reading out the factoids, aren't you?
Not reading
in a
anything
smug
out,
way,
is
as if you're.
Louis, the whole aim of this podcast is to help you.
To be fair,
it's like a doctor. It's like a doctor help doing some surgery on you, and you go, "Oh, doctor, you really know which organs to prod and poke, and which organs to rip out." And you go, "Well, yeah, I need to help you, so I've done my research." That's the same thing.
No, okay, fair enough. It's just a little less smugness.
Same level.
As if you're just
smug.
For those, this is a.
I'm trying to be a calming, helpful influence in your, nightmarish wreck of a life.
My nightmarish wreck of a life. Well, when I sit here with you, it does feel like
it does help. Yeah, good. Well, it's meant to help. 13. She doesn't sound 13, does she? What a voice for a 13-year-old.
Husky, I would say.
Amazing.
I suppose you could smoke more fags back then when you're underage.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah, probably does. And she's still alive.
Good on her.
78 years old now.
So it's not the tune. When was that tune from? Sounds sort of 50s, is it?
Yeah, 1958.
58. You know what I like about it? What I was thinking about it is that it feels like the birth of rock and roll. That's what you call like rock and roll as in not rock.
Yeah, I mean it was.
They got the
well after Elvis, but
okay. Because they got. I always think you can hear the double bass in the background, not the bass guitar, and it's almost like when it switched to all guitars and hair and everything. That's when it's
switched to guitars and hair.
Exactly. So and it's just pre there, but you can sort of feel it's going like a bit in. Do you know where I'm going with this? Back to the Future. When he goes back to the future and he goes back to that era and he's bringing out like he's like, you might not understand this, but your kids are going to love it. It's like it's the verge, and the guy's like, Jerry, you didn't hear this. Am I shouting into this microphone?
You are shouting. We'll have to edit all of that out. Have to cut it all probably.
Oh fuck.
Right, I might cut it anyway, just for a laugh.
Let's go Back to the Future and redo that bit.
I remember reading that if they did Back to the Future now, instead of doing Chuck Berry, it would have to be like Teen Spirit, to be like grunge and Britpop to be equivalent.
Oh my god,
that's a crazy thought, isn't it? And the future was 2015, 7 years ago, nearly 8 years ago. That was the future. The future was 8 years ago, Louis. How do you feel about that?
I feel like Ebenezer Scrooge. I feel like
you got the hat. You got the Ebenezer hat on.
I do have a Woody hat on.
Looks like his sleeping hat.
Oh yeah, I do. And you're like the ghost of Christmas past coming back to tell me that
like Marley, I'm trying to help you, Louis. I've got some more facts about that.
Go on.
That song was written by Johnny Marks, who was Jewish.
Well, that's not very Christmassy, is it? Although Jesus was a Jew, but
oh yeah, but Jewish people don't. And he also wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Same guy wrote.
Yeah.
Does he still get the royalties? He'd be loaded.
Another person who was 13. You know the song "I Saw Mummy Kissing Santa Claus"?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Well, he wrote that as well.
Jimmy Boyd. No, he didn't. But Jimmy Boyd was 13 when he sung it. "I Saw Mummy Kissing Santa Claus." And the Catholic Church attacked it because they thought it promoted adultery. And he had to explain to the church that Santa, he saw Mummy kissing Santa Claus, but Santa Claus isn't real. So, sorry, everyone. So that
No,
it was actually his dad. It wasn't promoting adultery because the kid saw Santa Claus thinking it's a different person, but it was his dad all along.
It was his dad.
So
is that how the song
It
finishes
was basically condemned and banned by the Catholic Church.
And then the 13-year-old had to explain.
13-year-old had to explain that it was actually his dad, and then they said, "All right, then, sorry."
All right. They're a bit quiet on Santa Claus, aren't they? The Catholic Church. So I don't remember him appearing in the Bible.
Santa Claus.
Yeah, Father Christmas, mysteriously absent from the scriptures.
It is odd, isn't it? It's weird you don't hear about Father Christmas in the Bible. I presume you've read all the Bible to know this.
No. There's a lot, but then there's a lot of the Catholic religion that doesn't appear in the Bible. All sorts of confession that never made a guilt. And
guilt? Are you full of guilt? What makes you feel guilty, Louis?
Why that question?
Well, you just mentioned guilt, and I thought I'd ask.
What gives me Catholic guilt?
Yeah,
drinking too much at Christmas, and then wake up hungover on Boxing Day, or last Christmas I had to have a nap on Christmas Day in the afternoon after
a
few proseccos with lunch. Yeah,
you're turning into Grandad.
Mouthing off a bit too much over Christmas dinner, and my nieces and nephews rolling their eyes. And drunk Uncle Louis at the Christmas table. I become that. Yeah. How did that happen?
Do they hate you? Do you think your nieces and nephews?
No, I'm a fun uncle.
Wait, because you're related to Esther Ranson, aren't you?
We're not putting this in the podcast.
Yes, we are.
We're not putting this.
Well, why not? If we can get Esther Ranson retweeting or talking about the podcast.
You should mention paedophilia only. You said how much you like Gary Glitter. She runs a child.
That's not what I said, is it? She started Childline, didn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. So she should be. She should support this podcast.
What is going on?
I was talking about how I couldn't listen to the Gary Glitter song because he was a paedophile. So why can't we get why? But you are related to Esther Ranson.
We share a great grandmother. Yes,
Esther Ranson. If she came in here and she'd look at me and go, "I don't know you." Look, she'd look at you and go, "Oh, it's Louis. Hello, Louis."
I don't want to.
Why not? You're not ashamed. Want to tell her. Surely not ashamed.
No, she's. I don't know if I want to publicise the story. I need to think about this.
Why wouldn't she? Why would
they used to do great Christmas parties. She used to do the best
Esther
Christmas.
Ranson.
Yes, I used to get all the family over. Like I only see once, only occasion, weddings, christenings, that sort of thing. And Christmas. Yeah. As you do with your extended family. Yeah. But they traditionally would do the Christmas Eve party. They did the best.
Does she not invite you anymore?
Not anymore. No.
She probably knows.
Not after the court case, though.
Does she not invite you anymore?
Well, when you're kids.
When did you last see her?
Since we, her birthday. She had
this year,
big birthday recently.
Why have you never invited me along to meet Esther Ranson?
Well, have you heard some of the things you've been saying on this pod?
Yeah, I
just maxed out then.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Why have you never thought? I invite my.
Because you'd probably you'd be there like, oh, by the way, I'm a musician and an actor, and here's a copy of my CD. Can you make me famous, please? You're famous. Can I be famous? Well, please. Can you do something? Can you get me on the One Show?
She probably couldn't get me on the One Show.
Definitely not. Unless it's one of those, unless it's one of those vox pops on the street. We're talking to,
So you saw Esther
idiots
Ranson
on the street.
So what relation is she to you?
Something like second cousin, twice removed. We share a great grandparent, something like that.
So why haven't you got her posting about this podcast?
What a wasted resource. National treasure, Esther Ranson, founder of a couple of charities for old people.
Exactly. That's why I want to use her.
Right? Here's a podcast where I drink beer and swear with my friend, my uni mate, and we take the piss out of each other and say offensive things. What? Why don't you back this?
She's a valuable resource that is being wasted. She's not doing anything now, is she? Chilling out.
She still does charity work. Yeah.
Well, this would be.
I think she still put.
This would be charity work
not only,
as well, wouldn't it?
She's still on the One Show occasionally and writes for newspapers and so on.
Yeah.
She's still a beloved treasure And someone who you can imagine doing a Christmas,
This is
Christmassy
why
things.
I think
Did she do Dancing with the Stars recently, or whatever? She's on those.
No, I don't watch any of that rubbish.
Yeah,
of course,
all of that. And this is about as far away from that as you can get. They used to have Father Christmas used to come, but one of the dads, her husband would dress up as Father Christmas and give out all the Christmas presents, and it was always fancy dress, and it was the best as a kid. Oh man,
what did you go as?
I remember one time going as a clown. We had a fancy dress box, and you go
just yourself, pretty much. Then, not a huge amount needed. And then what else? So you went as yourself, stroke a clown. It was like, you what? You went as yourself, stroke a clown, and then what else did you go as?
Oh, I mean, like, every year to do a new one, But they always had a great fancy dress. And
so you went to a birthday party this year?
Yeah. And still doing a lot of, I imagine she's out there now, bloody on the streets helping the homeless. It's the sort of thing you imagine National Treasure Esther Rantzen doing. Meanwhile, what are we doing? Swearing at each other on a podcast.
Yeah, we should probably have a very good and hard think about our lives, Louis.
What are you doing in your life?
Yeah, thanks to Esther Rantzen. She could still retweet about our podcast. Is she on Twitter?
I don't know. I don't think we share the same demographic, to be honest.
No, exactly. That's why we need to use her demographic. We need a whole fresh.
What do you like? I mean, who watches the one show? It's sort of family friendly. It's like mums and things like that. I don't think that lot are going to want to listen to.
I think
music
Natters. I think there are a lot of cool mums and older people who would enjoy this podcast.
Well, some of the music you put on today, I'm thinking like the 1950s, like elevator music. Yeah, you might be right, but
yeah, but there's a lot of cooler older people. I think you can't say older people are not interested in.
Well, how old? I mean, you got a point. She's probably the same age as like the Rolling Stones or whatever. How old are they? That lot now?
Well, late 70s.
Right, yeah,
80s.
Same.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, but that begs the question: are the Rolling Stones still? Can you still be cool if you're in your 70s, 80s? I suppose if you're.
I think you can. I think
you can.
Being cool is it's just doing what you want to do, isn't it? That's the definition of being cool. It's not to be any set thing. It's not to try to be cool. It's just doing what you want to do and just doing it. Surely that's the coolest thing, isn't it? No matter what age you are.
That's actually very profound. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
That is kind of profound. I've often wondered about what is the definition of being cool.
Tell me the story.
I'm cool.
You're cool, according to
some youth work. When I was doing like youth work type thing, and he was and then he was like, "Oh yeah, you're cool." You're somewhere between like the well-behaved kids and the naughty kids, and somewhere in between. And I thought I heard somewhere that is the definition of cool. It's like if you can tread that line between like
a working class
a
hero
rebel
is something to be.
What is that a quote? That sounds like a quote from
John Lennon's song.
Okay,
a working class hero. We'll have to add that on a future podcast. You can.
Well, I agree with that. It's like I'm not working class. I'm very much sort of middle class, but went to a school with a load of working class kids, and I sort of I idolised those working class heroes, like your John Lennon.
They hate you if you're clever, and they despise a fool. You have to be somewhere in between. You can't be too.
Yeah, people do despise you if you're smart. That's what. Yeah, you get.
And they despise a fool. They hate you if you're clever. They despise a fool. That's why That's why neither of us are popular.
What me?
I'm clever and you're a fool. Yeah, exactly. This is the problem.
I think it was okay to be a fool. I think it was not okay to be clever. But in the school I went to, what was most important is, are you tough?
Yeah. Were you tough?
I was tough enough. And smart enough to keep my head down.
Yeah.
What's this got to...
You sound like you were some sort of Victorian kid.
Well, we were talking about Christmas and Oliver Twist.
When you went to school in Stubbington
Please,
Village.
Sir, can we stop naming... You're giving away all my internet banking passwords.
What's your
not bank, but
one of your internet passwords, one of your banking passwords is Esther Rantzen.
Not passwords, but the question would be like, okay,
it probably is, isn't it? Esther Rantzen.
What's your first pet's name, and what's the name of your famous second cousin twice removed?
Music Natters.
I heard there's a bloke going round, climbing down people's chimneys, nicking everything, and he's Father Christmas. I've ruined that because Father Christmas gives presents, so that doesn't work. But you know what I mean? Anyone else climbing? We mentioned that earlier, didn't we?
We did.
We did. What was the last tune we just listened to there?
Rocking Around the Christmas Tree.
Well, I approve. and I improved rocking around the Christmas tree, and I've learnt something today. I never would have guessed she was 13 years old. I thought it was Lulu. So
wrong, and wrong.
I would say the tunes are getting better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, let's see if you still think that after this next song, Louis. Tell me what you think of this song. It's a Christmas song. This is the clue I'll give you. Okay, so bear that in mind while you're listening.